G'day and welcome back. Today I have a repair to do. I picked this up in Sydney. I went down there on vacation a couple of weeks ago. And I met up with the gentleman I talked to on the phone, and he said he had a radio for me to have a look at. He couldn't get it to work. I'll just open it up, and oh, it's got some paperwork in there. I'll try and get out of the box here. There it is. Here's the paperwork that was in with the receiver, and it says it's a DL, so that's right. I think these came out in 47. In fact, that says 47. So just after the war. Here's the front of the radio, and this style was used for quite a few years. There's no speaker in the front. It's on the side somewhere. The finish is a mottled cream, and it looks rather strange. Looks like it's dirty, but it's actually got a mottling through the plastic, which probably makes it a little bit more valuable. And I assume this is a plastic case. It can't be Bakelite, I don't think. And that's pretty unusual for Australia. We didn't seem to make the plastic cases till into the 50s. The back looks either original or a very poorly made replica. The problem, he said, was you would have it all working, tuned into a station, come back sometime later, perhaps the next day, turn it back on, and it wouldn't work until you move the tuning away and then back onto the station. So I don't quite know what that means. He also said there's not a lot of volume. I've plugged it in and I'll turn it on. We'll see what it does. I'll get a dim bulb. It should be alright. He's been using this daily. And we'll turn it on. Nothing at all. No, there's nothing. It's dead. It's plugged in. I'll take the back off. It's got 3 mismatched screws on the back. I'll take them off. The back doesn't look like it's original. It looks like someone's chewed that out. And the last screws are Phillips. Looks pretty good inside. There's the side mounted speaker. I don't know why it's not working. I'll just try it again. There's nothing there, it's not working. I'll take it out of the case, we'll see what's going on. There's 2 screws on the back to get off as well. They've made up little felts for it. And there's the volume control. And the volume control. Hang on. Oh, that's got a... that's got an on-off switch. These didn't have on-off switches originally. It's a pull-out on-off switch. Someone's changed that. Let's try it again. Oh, turn it on. That's better. I can hear it humming. It's volume. Let's put an aerial on the back there. I'll put the tuning knob on. It's a bit hard to turn the little shaft there. There's a station there. It is on dim bulb. We'll go full power. Not much better. No, the station should be down here. Wow. That is low. I'll stick it up 240 odd. Yeah, that's way too quiet. Alright, I'll take it out of the case. Alright, this should come out. There it is out of the case. This is a typical Australian 40s reflex set. Rectifier, output valve, that'll be a 6V6 probably. There's the converter, and that'll be the IF over there. And these work by getting the IF, converting it to AF, and then feeding it back into the same valve again and amplifying it twice. So very simple layout for these. Not much goes wrong. I just noticed this. This should not be down here. This is the adjustment screw for the IF transformer. That should be up here somewhere. So that may be half the trouble why it's got such low volume. Alright, here's the bottom, and it's had all the caps replaced and some resistors there, so it looks okay. Here's the new switch that someone's fitted, and it's a flash looking unit. Bit of wire missing, a bit of insulation I mean from there. It's got a resistor across here, which would indicate it's not the right potentiometer, so I need to look at that. There's the two adjusters for the IF. Here and here, they look better. They're not quite as far in. So the issue it has is low volume, and that can be low power somewhere in the circuit, low valve performance, dodgy volume control, maybe not. And what else have we got? The alignment. What about the alignment? That's probably a good place to start, actually, because I can physically see there's an issue with that. So maybe first thing I'll do is just check the alignment. We'll see if we can improve that. I think you can see in the back there, I've got my generator on. It's 455 for the IF frequency. I've powered the radio. I've connected it through a 0.01 capacitor to the converter grid. It has plenty of volume, so I'll adjust these and see if I can, yeah, it's making a difference, get any more out of it. Just see if I can, yeah, that one was spot on. This one is so low I can't even get to it. Not doing anything. Nothing. Yeah, it's getting weaker there. Maybe I might go straight into that IF grid there. I've put that on there, and that gets rid of this first IF. You're not trying to tune this one, you're only tuning this one. So we've pretty much lost it now. It's not doing anything. I'll take that grid cap off. You should leave them on, but I'll take it off for a second. There is virtually no response there. I'll turn it over, I'll try the bottom. I've turned the radio over, and when I did so, the grid cap lead came off that first IF. So, alright, I'm trying to adjust that. It's having no effect at all. None at all. Nothing. Okay, something wrong there. I'll take this shield off so I can see what's going on. Before I do anything, I think I'll reattach this grid lead onto that first transformer, so I'll pull the cover off that. There's two screws on the bottom here, and there's two screws on the top, and I can't see a crimp in the side of the aluminium case, so I'm hoping that it'll come off the coil. There's the two screws on the top, so as I said, hopefully I can take these out and this case or the cover will come off the coil. No, it's not going to. Looks like I'll have to unsolder it. I was really hoping not to do that. So I'll cut that wire. I'll heat this one. It's all going to fall apart. I'll just cut this one. I just tried to heat it. It's on the chassis there and it's not going to give, so I'll cut it and we'll work something out later. Alright, that should come out, hopefully. There we go. And there it is, and all it is the glue or the wax they've used is holding it in there. So if I maybe pushed on it a bit harder, it might have come out. Alright, I'll free that up and see if it'll come out. I tried cutting around that wax there, but I'll heat it up. It didn't move. Maybe it'll be hot enough to let the wax go. Okay, that's pretty hot. Ouch. It just won't move. Wow. Alright, I'll turn the cameras off. I'll keep working on it. I gave this a good bask in heat and it's come out. Woo! So there's the broken wire, and it would appear it just goes down here. So I need to dig that out and put a new bit in. Actually, I might go through a hole in the former here. It probably does. So I'll take that out. I'm going to go and clean this up a bit. I'm not going to polish it, but I'll at least clean it a bit. I'll replace that. I'll come back. I've cleaned the case up. I've still got the wire here. I thought I'll just show you what I'm going to do. There's the wire there. It comes down. It's wrapped around this post here, this metal bit of wire. This bit of wire. And I'll try and put a new bit of wire through there. It still has the insulation in there, so I'll just try and get it out. Just push a screwdriver through. There it is. I'll thread the wire through the hole first in the can. I think I'll just poke the wire in there instead of trying to resolder it to that piece of fairly solid wire there. So I can make a little coil. There it is. I should be able to poke that through the hole and pick up that coil. There it is. And a bit of solder. Alright, I can put that back together. There's the new grid wire fitted. I'm just going to try the radio out and make sure it's okay still. I don't believe this, of course, was the cause of the problem. It's fallen off after I moved it. And it's warmed up, and I've got a signal coming through from the signal generator. I'm feeding it straight into the antenna. This is, you know, just to make sure everything's still working. So if okay, so that's working. So that coil's working. We'll see if this one does anything. I would imagine it won't. No, it's not having any effect. I suspect it's something to do with this transformer that's at fault. I'll change this 6B6. Actually, what I can do, if I go on there, that's not coming through at all. So now we're going through here, then through this transformer, and I can just hear the tone. It's not having any effect. I'll take that cap off. We'll go straight into the valve. Wow, even that is not doing anything. Okay, I'll see if I've got a new valve. I've got that valve in the tester here, and I thought this was a 6B6. It's a 6B8, not a 6B6. I've had it on for a few minutes, and it's just in the bad section there. It should still work. It shouldn't be just blocking the signal like it is. And I do have a second one here, and it tests exactly the same. So although these aren't testing well, they won't be giving the symptom we've got. I've refitted that 6B8 in there, and I'll check the voltages. This will also check the continuity of the coils. So here's B plus coming up here. It goes into one of the transformer coils, the primary, comes out here onto the plate of that 6B8, and we are reading 278 volts. So that coil is okay. These two are the diodes. They should get a crackle. Yeah, a little bit of noise there. So that means that that coil is okay. What are we reading there? A couple of volts, 2.7. So that's coming through there. We should have 2.7 there roughly. Exactly. So that coil is okay as well. Here's the coupling cap. And we've got the signal getting through there. You can just hear it crackling. And if I put my finger on here, this is the grid of the output valve. It's got some buzz there. It's not much, is it? That should be screaming. I'm just looking at this coupling cap here. It's got 154 on it. So that's 154 nanofarad or 0.154 microfarad. That's not right. It should be a 0.05. So I better replace that. It's got the wrong value in it. I need to check that IF transformer. I don't think it's working properly, or something's stopping it from working. It doesn't seem to resonate at the 455. That's the plate of the 6B8. So I can bypass that valve by going directly on the plate with the signal generator. I have a 0.01 capacitor in the line, so I'm not going to get the full voltage back into my signal generator. And if I put it there, I can just hear it. So with the signal going straight into that transformer, here's the bottom adjuster for it. And I'll see, you can just barely hear it. I can hear it. and it is tuning. So that's on max. That's set to around 455. I'll do the top one, see if that will tune there. Now here's the top adjustment. I've got my screwdriver on it. I'll be quiet so we can hear it. And it's not doing anything. I'll take it out and check it out. We'll see what's going on. I hope I'm not barking up the wrong tree. Alright, here's the IF transformer, and I did notice that someone has put new leads on it. But it looks like I was barking up the right tree. Someone's replaced that capacitor. And no doubt the value they've used is not within the range of the 455. I'll flip it over and see if I can read the value. I've twisted the cap around. You can see that's 101, which is 100 picofarad, and that's usually a pretty reasonable guess. Clearly it's not correct for this application. I'll take that out and I'll come up with another plan. As you saw, I've removed the capacitor. I'll put this back in the radio as it is, and then I'll put an external cap on and we can experiment. I've refitted that transformer and I've put this little trimming cap here, and this goes from about 6 to about 100, I think, picofarad. So that's tuning. I should be able to adjust that now. It's not doing anything. Alright, maybe I need a bit more capacitance. I'll put that 100 picofarad that I got out of the radio, or out of the transformer, I'll put that on there and see if we can make a difference. I've paralleled the 100 picofarad capacitor with this adjustable one, so it should give me a range from about 100 to 200 picofarad. I'm not totally confident with this idea, but we'll give it a try. The radio is on, so I'll tune this and we'll see what we can get. And that's about it. It's very soft. And I'm going straight into the grid of this 6B8 valve. So everything else is out of the circuit. It's just from here to the amplifier. I'm going to adjust the top and I don't think it'll work. No, it's making no difference. There's something else wrong with that transformer. So I'll take it out again and we'll see what's going on inside. I've undone this can and it's ready to come out, but before I do, I noticed that these are two different heights. That's unusual. They're usually the same height. I scoured the internet, I found a photo, and they are the same height on the same DL radio. So this may well be a replacement someone's put in. Another thing I noticed was the hole for the grid cap lead should be on that side. Assuming this aluminium cap is the right way around on the transformer, it should be over there. Anyway, we'll take it out and I'll have a look. Alright, I'll take it out and I can check the ends here. Here's the top of the transformer and its container, or its can. There's a black mark where it lined up with that hole there, and on the back here it's got a black dot. I put a dot there to show the back of the radio. So that's how it was. I would normally expect that to be over that side and this side to be the secondary. So I don't know if it is the wrong way around or what, but I'll have a look and see if I can work something out. I'm just working out how this is wired, and this here, these 2 points here, is where that little capacitor was. Now, what is going on? This is the secondary as it is wired into the radio, and the bottom coil is usually the primary. Now, these wires here are going to this coil, and as I said, the little capacitor was across there. I know this is the primary. The secondary is usually the one on the top because they run the wire out here for the grid, the grid cap. So that normally is the secondary on the top. That's the primary. They've wired it in backwards. So I'll replace all these wires here. They've just kind of glued it on here. So I'll do them properly. I'll suck that out, put some new wire on, and I'll wire it in the reverse direction. We'll see if it makes a difference. I also need to put this little capacitor back on. I'll put it all together and we'll see if that works. The transformer's in and all wired up. I've got power on it and I have my signal generator on 455. The signal generator is just going into the grid of the 6A8 that that converter valve. I'll use a screwdriver to adjust this. It shouldn't make much difference. Alright, we'll try the top one, and I don't think this is going to work because I now realise what's going on. The remaining capacitor in the can is no good. Okay, hang on. I'll solder this little trimmer cap on again, and this will go across the secondary, and I'll just see if that'll trim it. I've fitted the little trimmer cap there, I'll put the volume up, and this will now tune. Oops, got some noise in it. Okay, and we should be able to do this one now. Yeah. I'll do it here as well. We've got a lot of noise in there. Might have silver mica. That's good enough for this time. That was just a rough alignment, just got it basically right. I want to see if it's going to work. I've connected the antenna here, so let's turn it up and see if it works. Oh no, it doesn't.
It
does.
Only in winter, only in summer, doing some fruit picking, a whole range of seasonal or ad hoc work. Years.
So it is working. It's not terribly loud still.
2, 3, come down the beach and watch a fish and sit around and try.
Okay. I have the transformer out again. This is the faulty capacitor here, and its matching coil is next to it. I was working on the wrong end because they'd swapped over the two coils. So I'll melt some wax off, take this capacitor out, we'll give it a test. There it is. I'll give it a test and see what it's actually reading. Yeah, it's 87. I don't know if it used to be 100. These can be anything. They don't necessarily be 100. 100's about the starting point. I'll put 100 in there, and if it's out, I can use the trimmer cap to determine exactly what we need. There's a new capacitor, 100 picofarad, and there's the old blue one that was already in there. I've swapped them over because I doubt this is rated at 200 or 300 volts. I know my one is rated at 600 odd volts, so I've put the blue one on the low voltage circuit. There's only about 3 volts on this, so that'll be okay there. I've also changed the couple of the wires over to the actual real colours. This is the original colours. They're in the little service manual that I got with the radio. It's ready to go back, and let's see if it's going to work properly. It's all back together. I have the transformer fitted, and it's all wired up, ready to go. I've got power on it, and if I was to turn this up, we can hear the 455 signal. So, big test. Let's see if this one will trim. There it goes. Yep, that's working perfectly. There's no background crackling noise coming through either, and this old capacitor probably had silver mica disease. I've wasted enough of your time. I will turn the cameras off. I'll just peek these 4 screws, and then we'll come back, and there's a couple of other adjustments to do, and I think we're well on the way to being done. I peaked the adjustments on that IF transformer. I used the proper tool. I didn't use the screwdriver, of course, for the final adjustment. I need to do the RF alignment, make sure the pointer's pointing to the right place, and it's peaked. I've put a couple of marks on here. This one's 600. This is 1422. I put this back in the case and just marked it off the dial. So if I put that about there, that's about 600. Mounted on the back of the tuning capacitor is the antenna coil. There's the antenna trimmer. And down the bottom somewhere, there's a trimmer for the oscillator. This antenna coil is hollow. There's no slug adjustment for it. So that is fixed. You can't change that. As I said, we've got that on 600. The signal generator's on 600. And we need to adjust this oscillator here. Turn it up a bit. There it is. So I'll just peak that, and it is peaked there. Because the antenna coil is not adjustable, you need to rock this to get the maximum signal, and then we'll adjust the needle to make it 600. So I'll adjust this oscillator screw to maximum, which is there, and then you move this away from the 600 to see if it gets any louder, and it doesn't, so it's actually right on. Alright, so there's nothing to be gained there. That means now that the oscillator and the antenna tuning gangs are aligned with each other at 600. So now it's just a matter of going up to 1422 on that mark that I've made there. I have the signal generator on about 1422. Now if I turn this up, we should have a signal there. Oh, there he is. All I do now is adjust the trimmer to get maximum signal. It's already there. Alright, I'll leave it like that. That was actually adjusted correctly. I have the antenna attached, and there's a station just past these. Oh, there they are.
Building with that one there. Got a building on fire. Waratah.
Wow.
Korea, just be careful. Broken out.
Oh, look at that.
Southbound at Leadville Road, off-ramp car.
It's got so much bass. Something's wrong there.
Vehicle crash.
Anyway, there's
Northbound just before.
buckets of volume now.
I'm going to stick with Penrith. Yep. Just given the for the crew.
Oh, look, that's working beautifully.
Overseas, Bruce Willis's wife, Emma Hemming Willis, has spoken of how difficult it is.
19 and the other 20. This is the Pacific Highway. Plan ahead at livetraffic.com. Sydney Preston's on the new motorway. M5 still can't watch.
Wow, it's got so much bass, it's nearly breaking the speaker. That's working really well now. I don't think I need to do a lot more. The volume control's really touchy, so maybe I should look at that. And there's too much bass, something's wrong there. But so far, very happy with the way it's working. I'll turn it over, we'll see what I can do about that extra bass. This is the capacitor that runs between the plate and, I think it goes to ground. Yeah, that's ground. It's got a 473 capacitor in there. I don't know if you can read that. 473, and that's 0.047. It won't be anything like that. That's wrong. That will affect the bass. Here's the 6V6 output valve. Here's the plate. It has that capacitor going to ground there. This will affect the tone. It's got a 0.006, or it should have. They've got a 0.047 in there. So all the treble's just getting drained down to the ground, and all you're getting is bass. So if I wind that back and put in a 0.006, it should be fine. I might put in a 0.0047 actually. I couldn't read some of the numbers. I was pretty sure it was a 0.006, but it could have been a 5. But anyway, I found this bit of text here. It says this is a 006, that's the one we're looking at, and they've replaced it with a 0.005. That was to improve the tone. So I was going to put in a 0.0047. So that'll do that, and we'll be back to the latest mod version. I've replaced that capacitor with a 472, which is 0047. So we'll try that out, see what that sounds like.
617. I'm Ian Wallace on the Big Sports Breakfast.
Wow, nearly blew myself out the room there.
Friends on the tab app. Follow the BSB Vets Friends team for all the team's tips.
That sounds better. It'll be in the case, it'll sound better again.
Run and women struggle, but they always end on the exit, but they don't tell the story about what happens after. Mm-hmm. How much of that storytelling?
Fantastic. That's much better, much better. The only real thing I need to worry about perhaps is this volume control.
Claims about how much money was spent on First Nations people, and that was incorrect. And
Actually, I've got to say now that it's got more volume, it's working much better.
Trigger people. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's still only at the top end of the range. I can change the resistor across there perhaps and get a bit better result.
This guy.
You can't touch this.
Yeah, MC Hammer.
Okay, I'll have a look at that. Let's have another look at this schematic. Here's the output valve, here's the IF amplifier, and here's the converter mixer. This is the IF transformer that was giving me trouble, and the previous repairer had swapped these two coils over. So I thought I was working on the secondary and its capacitor, when in fact the fault was in the primary and its capacitor, and because it was switched over, I was working on the wrong end. Now, the volume control is down here, and what it's doing is altering the grid bias on the cathode by changing the resistance on that cathode. So you're changing the voltage on that cathode. It has a fixed resistor here, so that'll give you a basic grid bias, and this one here can vary it by sending it back to earth. So what's going to happen is this center wiper, when it's up here giving a short circuit in effect, not using any of the resistor, this will be at its minimum bias. As you move down the resistor, this is going to increase, the voltage here will increase, and the volume will go down. So if that's got a log pot in there, it's going to be exactly opposite of what you want. Everything's going to happen here and nothing down the end here. In my preamble, I said that this was a reflex set, and it is kind of, but it's not a true reflex set. What they've done is, there's the audio frequency there, and it comes along here and goes on to the cathode. That gets amplified again, and it goes through the whole process and comes out through the speaker. So it is kind of reflexing it, probably more regenerating it. Yeah, I'm not sure what you'd actually call this. Anyway, let's have a look at this pot and see what we can do. I don't think I can do much with it. I've put my analog meter onto the pot there, so this is what's happening when you turn the radio up and down, and this is on minimum volume. If I start turning it up, there's not much happening, and it'll all happen at the last minute. So there it is. Okay, so now we've got a dead short. We're at maximum volume. You pull it back a little bit and it's just dropping it off too quickly. So that's why it's only got the volume change right at the end. So this probably would be better if it had a linear pot in it. This would have been a specially made pot for this radio. I don't have a linear pot with a switch on the end. So the only thing I can do perhaps is change this resistor here. I think that's about 51k. Maybe take it down to, I don't know, 10k. And it'll just broaden it a little bit. It's not going to be perfect, but it might just make it a little less sensitive. I've got a 10k resistor on a couple of clip leads. I've just taken that other resistor out, and we'll just see if it makes any difference. It's still going to do the same thing.
Yeah, but Indigenous one.
Yeah, it's still the same. What if you go to the center wiper? That's better.
And has made it. It's the same about welfare.
I'll try 6.8k, see what that does. There's a 6.8k there, I'll try that.
$10 for a 2-litre milk. They're paying 3 times the prices you pay.
That's a little bit better. I don't know how low we can go. I'll try 3.9.
Education programs all over this city of Brisbane. I can
Won't turn off now.
children that are participating at the highest level of secondary
Yeah.
education.
So I think the what do we have there? 6.8. We'll have to do.
We are having success with remote kids.
Yeah. Okay. I'll leave it like that. I really can't do anything else. I'll fit this resistor in there, and that'll do it. It's all back in the case. I have the power on. Before I put it back in the case, I replaced that gold backing paper there. This one was falling apart. I also refitted the little felt disc on the speaker. So it's warmed up now. I'll turn it up.
Why is the dog feeling like that? So for us to be able to change behaviour, we need to be able to change the environment for the dog.
And in the case, that sounds really good. That's a good balance of bass and treble for AM. There's not a lot of treble in AM, of course, but
In our behaviours.
no, it sounds good. That's very good. And there's tons of volume there now. I'll just run down the dial.
Not necessarily. You can be standing foot or past someone 3 or 4 metres behind you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Now, there's no AGC on this, so there's no noise between stations.
Labour is really the most important project.
Let's have a look at the Epsom for you. Ralph mentioned earlier that he would be officiating at the draw, which
Okay, it sounds great. I'll leave this running for a while. The owner also complained that it moved off station. I didn't quite understand what he meant, but I think he said it moved off station. So I'll let it sit for a while and see if it wanders around. I'll come back, and if it's okay, we'll finish the video off. Okay, this has been running for about an hour, and it slowly drifted off the station. It's only a little bit out, but something's not right in there, so I'll have to take it out of the cabinet and have another look. I've got the radio on, and it's on a very weak station. The tuning gang sits on the transformer, so that does warm up. So, but I'm not sure that's going to make any difference. That's the oscillator coil. There is another trimmer here for the oscillator. I didn't touch that. It's been done in the factory. I'll just leave that. So I'll spray it with a bit of cool spray, freeze spray, and it has wandered off. So maybe just a feature of this radio that this is going to heat up and start changing the capacitance of this tuning capacitor. Alright, I'll tip it up and have a look underneath. I've flipped it over. This is the oscillator coil. There's a capacitor down there, and this is the padder adjustment, which I did from the back of the set before. Now I've got a very weak station tuned in there, so if it moves it should show up on that. I'll spray this capacitor with some cold spray, freeze spray.
Southbound as you head towards the Gold Coast. A broken down ute, but the trailer on the
that has not moved. The padder, can I spray that? I guess so.
after Slacks Creek for eastbound traffic.
No, that's the same. I don't think it's anything down here. That capacitor in there would have been number one suspect, but that's not moving.
Savings on selected premium Skoda demos. Only at Mount
Yeah,
Cravat
no, it's not
Skoda,
moving.
Logan Road, Mount Cravat. It's forward.
I think the problem is that the tuning capacitor is sitting on top of the hot transformer, and as the transformer heats up, the capacitor heats up, and it just changes its value slightly. It could also be expanding a bit and pulling on the dial string. Maybe that moves it slightly. I don't know. I don't think there's much I can do with it. Oh, it's up the right way again. The only other thing left is this 6A8 tube or valve. I do have another one over there. I can possibly change that, see if it goes away. I'm not sure. I'll change that. After that, I'll just give up. I don't know. Alright, new valve's in. I've got it centered on that station. Bit of ABBA on there. I'll let it, I'll turn it off actually, let it all cool down, put it back on, see if it's still on station. Alright, it's been a couple of hours. I left this turned off, it cooled off. I turned it back on and it was off station slightly. It's only a very, very slight amount. So changing that valve didn't do anything. I'm wondering whether I should replace this string. I was always going to do it, but then I thought, oh no, it's working all right, I won't worry. But it's just a bit of cord, it's not the right string. The dial system is pretty hard to turn, so you know, maybe there's enough friction there. I don't know. I'm just making this up. I'll replace this string. I'll put it all back together. I can't do much else apart from that. I'll also put the old valve back. I've replaced the dial string. I thought of something else I could do. I cleaned out the capacitor here out in the workshop, and I've also raised this little trimmer capacitor away from the plate there. And I sprayed the contact here with some deoxit. I'll put it back in the case now. It's all back together. Put it back in the case. The tuning is so much easier. I've let this cool off and heat up and cool off a few times, and the drift has gone. So cleaning the capacitor may have addressed the problem. I'll box this up, send it back to the owner. He should be very happy. I think he's been trying to get this to work properly for a while. So he'll put that back on the top of his cupboard there. I think he'll enjoy that. So this is an Astor Mickey, model DL, 1947. It would have been considered a second radio or a kitchen radio. Astor were in Melbourne. They're a Melbourne company, and they made a lot of stuff. They made some pretty good stuff, actually. This is a pretty basic set, but it works very well. Anyway, enough of that. I hope you enjoyed watching me fix this up, and I hope you can join me next time for my next radio adventure.